I've been driving around all week and just seeing all kind of crazy stories and things going on, from billboards to looking at YouTube videos. It seems like every time I stop somewhere, I see some kind of ad, and it's about mental health. It's about you know, taking care of yourself and taking care of your people. And so, that resonated with me. I thought to myself, because I got a lot of friends and family members that's going through, personal issues. And it just stuck to me like, okay, this is something that needs to be talked about. What about our mental health? We talk about everything from media, news media, to what celebrities are doing, gossip or whatever, but we don't talk about mental health enough. And that's something that we should talk about. And then the song came on, Blackberry Molasses by Mr. I don't know if y'all remember Blackberry Molasses. These were some kids, and they were talking about some deep stuff. When you get a chance, go back and listen to Blackberry Molasses. Shout out to Bobby Valentino from Mr. That was the group back in the day. I think he was the lead singer. But yeah, there was just all kind of mental health stuff just been feeding into my mind. So I just felt like that was something that I needed to talk about. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my people. You are rocking with Jay Riggins, and I am the author of What a Man Really Wants to Say About Relationships, Revised and Unapologetic. And this is the Unapologetic Relationship Podcast. And it's going to be some real deep stuff going on today. So y'all need to buckle up. But right now, we need to pay some bills. And when we come back, get ready. And we're back, good people. Yeah, it's this podcast is gonna be a doozy. First thing, let me give you a little synopsis about this podcast, so you won't be confused from here on out. This is not your typical relationship podcast, okay? I know it has the word relationship in it. Unapologetic. There's a lot of unapologetically running around out there. But this is everything relationships. So we're not just talking about, two people walking in the park, walking the dog. We're talking about some real relationship issues. And a lot of the issues that we're talking about, that I'm going to be talking about, are some of the issues that we kind of hide up under the rug. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to talk especially not in public. We'll talk behind each other's backs about certain relationship topics. But on this show, we're going to put them all on the forefront. Okay? So when you hear certain shows of mine throughout this podcast, and I'm not talking about the typical relationship stuff, I want you to know why. My book is not a typical relationship book, okay? What a Man Really Wants to Say About Relationships, Revised and Unapologetic. And you can catch it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can pick it up, you can comment about the book. But that's what basically led me to this podcast, okay? So when you read the book, you'll understand. When you listen to my podcast more than one episode, you'll understand this is not your typical podcast, okay? This is a relationship podcast, but I talk about some deep relationship items. From, of course, I'm going to hit the ones from cheating to money problems, bedroom problems. But I also has chapters called Entanglement, Using Kids as Weapons, and one of my, and I'm not going to say my favorite because it's really a deep and dark chapter, but it's talking about mental health in relationships, right? I am a combat vet. I do have PTSD, so I know firsthand what people go through in terms of relationships and in just life in general, dealing with PTSD or any kind of mental illness. And I don't want to call it an illness. I just want to call it mental issue. Because I don't really think it's an illness. I just think it's an issue that everyone handles differently. Okay. So once I threw that out there, so a little bit about why I led to this podcast as far as the mental health. And it's basically, the name of this podcast is called Check on Your People. Okay. And check on your people means exactly how it sounds. Check on your people. Stop letting days, months, years go by of, not speaking to your family members, your friends, your siblings, because these are all parts of your relationship. You have a relationship with each of these people, correct? So, that's why I wrote it. It's called Check on Your People. And I've been guilty of it too. prime example, me and my best friend, we just connected about 2 weeks ago, after not speaking for about 2 months, just over some BS. You know what I'm saying? Just over just a disagreement or whatever. And God forbid if something would have happened to him in between that time, or if something would have happened to me, I know he would have felt a certain way. And guilt is something that, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the worst feelings in the world. So luckily we both had sense enough to reach out to each other, and now we're cool. But I can speak from personal, from prime example that I am a work in progress. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I go through relationship problems just like everybody else, but it's all about being a bigger person and realizing that life ain't promised. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know I was wrong as two skunks taking a bubble bath for not reaching out to him. You know what I'm saying? It was about 2 months gone by and we hadn't spoken to each other. So, I just want to throw that out there. Check on your peoples, man. That's the whole point of this podcast, this first episode. And the main reason why I did this episode was because I had received a videotape from one of my old friends. And he's an older guy, so I don't really think he realized what he was sending to me. And this was a very disturbing video. I don't know if he thought it was something else, or because I usually don't look at stuff like that. Because like I said, I got PTSD and I don't need my PTSD to be triggered. So I usually don't even watch stuff like this. But he sent it to me and I said, okay, it didn't look bad when I first turned it on. But in this episode, and y'all, I'm going to throw this disclaimer out there. What I'm telling you is kind of disturbing. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of, just keep your hair straight. It was a guy that was videotaping himself, and he was walking through the house and he was yelling out the window, and I couldn't really hear what he was saying. But once I finally figured out that he was talking to the police, and he was saying, I'm not coming out alive and all this other stuff. And I'm like, so I'm watching it. And like I said, people, I don't watch stuff like this. This is not even stuff that I usually watch, but it just drove me in because I'm looking at the guy, and this is this clean cut young man, African-American man. You know what I'm saying? And he pans down with his phone and there's a little boy. So I'm putting all this together and he's yelling at the cops, with a gun in his hand, because I can clearly see the gun. And he has his son in the room. And all he's telling the cops is, can y'all please come get my boy? I've already shot at y'all. I know y'all not letting me come out here alive. Y'all not letting me get out this apartment alive. So just come get my boy. And at the same time, he's walking through the house and he's talking on his phone, or talking to the recording, because he's recording himself. And he's just basically like kind of mumbling and saying that, I don't know how I got to this point. And the whole time when he's talking to the phone, he's taking care of his son. He's putting the little boy's jacket on. He's feeding him pizza. And I don't know if you guys saw this video out there. And if you do, if you did see this video, my heart goes out to you, because it was disturbing to me. You know what I'm saying? This had me shook for a couple days, just because of the severity. And like I said, I didn't watch it all the way to the end, but I watched enough. And he was steady yelling back and forth with the cops. First he said, I'm gonna go out in a blaze of glory because I'm not killing myself. That's what he said at first. So as this video goes on and he's putting his little boy's clothes on and he's feeding his little boy pizza, and mind you, the whole time that he's yelling at the cops with a gun in his hand, he's not saying an ill word to his son. He hadn't said one ill word to his son. He's taking care of his son. He's saying, go put on your shoes, go put on your clothes, go put on your coat. And I believe at one point through the video, he was saying, and I called your grandmama's here to come get you, is coming to pick you up. This young man, even though he was at the end of his ropes and he was either going to take his life or he was going to go out in a blaze of glory like he was telling the cops, he was still passionate about taking care of his son up until the end. And my heart just went out to this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I'm watching a video. I don't know this guy. And I usually don't even watch videos like this, but something made me watch it for that amount of time, practically until the end. And it was just so crazy because I'm thinking the whole time, what pushed this guy to this point? What made a young man in probably the prime of his life get to this point where he's about to end it all? I mean, like I said, I don't know what went on prior to the video, but like I said, I'm looking at this guy. He's not looking disheveled. And I'm not saying that anybody that's going to take their life or going through any kind of mental health problems got to look a certain way. But he just didn't fit that picture of, you know what I mean, of what he was going through. And like I said, I didn't watch it to the end. I watched it to the point where he put his little boy's jacket on and he said, "Your grandmother's coming to get you." And he looked at the phone and said, "I'm about to take my own life." And at that point, I cut it off because I wasn't about to watch him take his own life. And, you know, so that resonated on me. And like I said, this whole, it just seemed like this week, it was just something always going on, whether it was the news or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. It just seemed like it's all kind of mental health things going on, from celebrities to just regular people. I mean, people that I know around me. I was talking to some of my partners, and they were saying they were going through some stuff. So, but here's the thing. So the young man that I'm assuming he took his life, because I didn't watch it to the end, but he was talking about taking his life. And if you guys seen the video, then maybe you know, maybe you did watch it to the end. I hope not, but because it's disturbing. But my thought was, who are these people in his circle? Because how did this young man get to this point where he's going to end it all? He has this beautiful little boy in front of him. He's clearly a good dad because he's, you know what I mean? He's taking care of this little boy. And I'm not saying, and I know people going to say, well, how's he a good dad? And, you know, he killed himself in front of his. Here's the thing. It's a lot of things that people don't know about me. So I'm going to put this out there. You know, I'm going to make this, I'm just going to put some stuff out there that a lot of people might not know about me, and people that even know me might not know this about me. Okay. So when I was in Robins Air Force Base, Georgia, like I said, I am a vet. I'm a combat vet at that. I was in Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. My mom had just passed from cancer. Okay. And I know about being at your lowest point because I was at my lowest point, whatever that means. All I know is if I didn't have people in my corner that was taking care of me and taking me up under their wings and keeping my mind off my mom, there would be no podcast from me. There would be no Unapologetic Relationship podcast. Not from me, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. And I'm not saying, you know, I would have did something to myself, but I don't know. I don't know, because I had people in my corner to keep me from even thinking about something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, because we need to check on our people. We need to be a circle. We need to be a village to our so-called friends and family that we call our friends and family. You know what I'm saying? Do we know what kind of mental things that they're going through? Do we know if they got food in their refrigerator? Do we know if they're suffering from cancer? And here's the thing. We let one argument ruin a relationship. One argument ruin a relationship. Did y'all get that? Years, months, days go by when we don't speak to family members and friends because of something petty. And then we hear those ugly words. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone. You can pick up the phone, and because I've done it. And I mess up all the time. I say crazy stuff. I do crazy stuff because I'm a Sagittarius, and that's what we do. We do foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Sagittarius out there. We do crazy stuff. But here's the thing about it. I'm big enough to say, hey, I'm sorry, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, sis. Because I don't know when I'm going to see them again. I don't know if I'm going to see them again. And here's the thing with my mom. I lost my mom. That was my best friend. That was the closest person to me. So when she passed, my mind was all over the place. I see people on social media talking about so and so is crazy. He or she is crazy. Did you see what they did? Did you hear what they did? You hear what he said? Let me tell y'all something. If you got both parents living, whether they're in good health or not, but they're living and breathing, you have both parents, you can't talk about somebody who's lost a parent. You can't talk about somebody's mental health that lost a parent, especially a parent that was close to them, like my mom was to me. You know what I mean? And luckily, like I said, I had that circle to keep me occupied because I don't know. You could have been somebody who stepped on my shoe and it could have been on. You could have been someone who said a foul word to me and it could have been on. And I'm not bragging about, violence or whatever, but I know what these people are going through. And if you never lost someone, and especially a child, oh my goodness. If you've lost a child, that'll push you to a whole nother dimension when it comes to mental health. You know what I mean? But like I said, I lost a parent. My mom was my best friend. And so I understand with some of these celebrities that we make fun of because I did it too at some point until I had to shut it off because I looked in the mirror and I said, that was me. That could have been me. You know what I mean? So I had to stop making fun of these celebrities or just regular people about what they do, knowing the circumstances that they went through. Okay. And I ain't got a name drop because I don't do that in my podcast. I didn't do it in my book, so I ain't gonna do it in my podcast. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know celebrities that we make fun of because of they're saying or doing something stupid in the media. But you're not in their shoes. Like I said, if you have both your parents, you can't make fun of somebody who's lost a parent that was close to them. You know what I mean? That's just, and like I said, I did it and I was as wrong as two skunks taking a bubble bath because that was not my place to make fun of somebody who, in which case I was going through the same thing. These celebrities and some of these people don't have a circle that I had. They didn't have that village that I had. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bud Hardiman and Darlene Coleman. This was my family. Rest in peace to both of them. They're both gone. This was my family. Those people at Robins Air Force Base was my family. You know what I'm saying? They took me under their wing when I was going through my darkest days. The guys, my girls in the dorms, my coworkers. You know what I mean? Elaine, Kim, Felicia, Larry, Beverly. All of my people. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole village that kept me from going off the deep end. So going back to this young man, I don't know who was in his circle. I don't know what he was going through or what he was feeling. And my heart goes out to him and his family because obviously he was going through some real dark stuff. And to have that little beautiful boy in front of him and still take his life. Or still be willing to take his life while you're looking at that beautiful boy, not harming that boy, because we know a lot of people that that's at their wits' end. They're taking everybody out, but this wasn't the case. And like I said, this video was just so disturbing. So I had to talk about it. And it was just little stuff that I was seeing. I would turn on videos, and it was always somebody talking about their mental health. It was celebrities. It was regular people. It was commercials. I was listening to my radio this morning when I was driving to the gym, and Blackberry Molasses came on. Like I said, from Mister. That was Bobby Valentino's group back in the day. I don't know if you guys listen to the song Blackberry Molasses, but if you listen to the words, those are some disturbing words for some little kids to be singing about. They were already talking about. I ain't gonna get me to singing, They ain't gonna make fun of me. But they were talking about some real stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really think about it until it came on the radio today. I've heard that song a million times. That's one of my favorite songs. But when it came on the radio and I was actually singing and listening to the words, I was like, wow. I was like, well, these were some little kids, and they were talking about, you know, basically like, I don't want to be here no more type stuff. If you listen to the words deep enough, but it was just like all kind of stuff. You know, it was just every time I turned on YouTube, it just seemed like somebody was talking about they didn't want to be here no more. And I sat back and I thought about all my family and my friends that I've had beef with. I've let time go by and didn't check on them, didn't call them. I'm talking about I'm going to be honest with you, some for years. You know what I'm saying? Some of my family members for years we've had, including my dad. We got a great relationship now. I love him to death, and you know what I'm saying? And he loves me. But it was years went by while I was holding a grudge with my own dad. You know what I'm saying? And if something would have happened to him in the meantime, that's something that I don't know if I could have dealt with. But we get so conditioned at letting these things, I'll call him tomorrow. I'll get with him next week. You know what I'm saying? And when these things, when there is no next week, then we're sitting back looking crazy. So that's why I had to name this podcast "Check on Your People." And I was going to be talking about some real lovey-dovey stuff too, relationship wise. But I don't want my listeners to think that this is the platform for my podcast and I'm just going to be talking about grim stuff. I had to get this off my chest. Okay. Disclaimer. I had to get this off my chest. Of course, we're going to be talking about relationship, stuff and everything that makes or break a relationship. Basically everything I'm talking about in my book. We're going to be talking about. But I had to, because relationships are not just two people with matching sweatshirts. You know what I'm saying? Relationships are relationships you have with your kids, your best friend, your aunts, your uncles, your dad, your siblings. Those are relationships too. And those need to be talked about just as much as how to communicate. Oh, no, you hang up. You hang up. You know what I'm saying? That it's more than just it's more to a relationship than just that. And in my podcast, of course, we're going to hit all the relations from, like I said, from cheating to entanglement to having PTSD in a relationship, using the kids as weapons. We're going to be hitting all the relationship topics. But I just felt that this was something off the cuff that I had to talk about because it was that serious. Mental health, you can't have a relationship without mental health. You can't be in a marriage or, you know what I'm saying? Or dealing with siblings or a kid, being a parent without good mental health. And what makes good mental health is checking on your people. Do you know what I'm saying? Checking on your people and letting them know that everything is okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's not that serious. It's not that serious that you need to take your own life. We need that. You know what I'm saying? Because think about how many people could have still been here. And I don't want people to blame themselves and, you know what I'm saying? But think about how many people could have still been here. How many friends or family members that we have that could have still been here if we would have reached out and just said those 3 words. I love you. Please check on your people. If you don't get nothing else out this podcast, check on your people. Because at the end of the day, they need you to. And for you people that have parents, grandparents, family members in these care facilities, please check on your people, because that's just as important as anyone going through any kind of mental health breakdown. Because at the end of the day, we all know someone that's in one of these care facilities. And I was just looking at the news the other day. This just came on probably yesterday. And there was a girl, I forget what state she was, and she was molesting men and women, elderly men and women. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing, and I don't want to get too grim because it's not that type of podcast. This is still a relationship podcast. So I'm not trying to get real deep into it, but that still plays into check on your people. Because here's the thing. And when you have any family member, friend, whoever in one of these facilities, and you're constantly checking on them, they will not mistreat them. Let me say that again. If you have anybody in one of these care facilities, whether it's an old folks home, whatever, these folks that work there will not mistreat them because they know somebody is constantly checking on them, right? And I'm not trying to put all that out there like all care facilities are bad and they're gonna molest you or beat on you or whatever. But I am saying there are people in this world that are not stable and they work in these facilities, right? But if you're checking on your people and doing what you need to do as a family member, as a friend, or whoever, and these people are in this facility, and even people that's not your immediate family, if you got a friend in a facility, you can expect his mom and his dad, his brother, his sister to go up there and check on him every day, all day. If that's your friend, why aren't you going to check on him? You know what I'm saying? If that's your buddy, why aren't you going to check on him? Because at the end of the day, just because he's in there and you think he's getting the type of care that he deserves or she deserves, it doesn't mean that that's happening. I know some people that's in these care facilities and they're not eating good and they're not being looked after like they should. So it is your responsibility to go check on those people just as much as you're checking on that friend going through any kind of mental health breakdowns. Okay? Check on your people, man. I feel overjoyed for you guys joining my podcast and checking out my podcast because we will be talking about some real relationship stuff, just like we were talking about today. But like I said, the recap is to check on your people. Check on your peoples, man. The peoples with an S. I don't care where you're from, however you say it, but that's what you need to do. Check on your peoples. Make sure their mental health is good. Make sure they got food in the refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that they got heat. They you know what I mean? They got lights. They got they're maintaining. Just check on them. Or make a phone if they're not letting you in, because there's some people that's not gonna, they're not gonna rock with you and they're not gonna let you in their house or whatever. Make a phone call just to let them know you love them, you care about them. That makes all the difference. You know what I mean? So please check on your people. And like I said, I've been there. I've had, those I've lost loved ones, close loved ones. And so I know that can be hell going through, you know what I mean? So just, I learned from that and I grew from that. And I made it a choice that I would check on my people, even though you slip up every now and then, you're going to have grudges, but just continue to check on your people. And that's all you can do. Well, this is the end of the show. And thank you for listening. Like I said, this is the Unapologetic Relationship Podcast brought to you by Podpire Network. Also, check us out on Instagram and check out my book on Amazon, What a Man Really Wants to Say About Relationships, Revised and Unapologetic, and my website. And the links to all of those are in the show notes. Until next time, I've been Jay Riggins. Stay unapologetically you.